What's going on, everybody? So I was asked to do a little video about religion, and originally I was gonna just kind of talk about, I guess, like the negative aspect of organized religion, but decided to take a whole new approach to it. So I mean, at least in my own observation and humble opinion, especially when it comes to the religion of Christianity, especially the branch of Catholicism, I can see that there's negative entities at play here, siphoning people's energies, followers' energies. I firmly believe that the majority of people who are Catholics and Christians are good people. They mean good, and they're just unknowingly giving their power to the very thing that they're trying to stop, which I guess would be quote unquote the devil, but it's not as elementary as that, which would honestly be my gripe with the major religions. It appears to me that they purposely tell you to not engage in certain acts, and I understand why, because they aren't for everybody. But for example, I mean, when the Bible says don't look into the occult, don't practice yoga, don't do this, don't activate certain types of things, those are there basically to stop you from reaching your full potential. That's not to say that, when you get into things like thelema or Satanism, or basically what Aleister Crowley was doing, yeah, that's evil. That shit is evil, because they're basically telling you, do what you want without, don't think about the consequences. If you feel like you could be the best rapist and you could rape, as many people as you can and get away with it, and the ideology of Satanism and thelema, it says just do it. If you like doing it, just keep doing it until it kills you. And that is a very dangerous doctrine to go by, because it does feed into your carnal and base root desires, which, if that's all you're feeding, you will be in a world of hurt, for damn sure. Now, I do agree with the major religions on that. You do need some guidelines and some groundwork to make sure that, like a situation I said before, you don't want to encourage somebody who feels like they're really good at raping or killing or scheming to dive further into that activity, because that's what Satanism and thelema encourage. Although to the average bystander, they think, oh, it says do what you want, and that's good, because you shouldn't feel compelled to appease to other people's opinions, especially if what you're doing has little to no effect on other people, especially the people that are criticizing you. So in that aspect, I definitely think that the organized religions are kind of like kindergarten, or they're kind of like, they limit you on purpose for the reasons, like I said, this isn't for everybody. Not everybody should be tapping into certain things, and not everybody should be doing certain ritualistic practices. It's not made for everybody. But that being said, let me basically dive into what is important here. So what I've noticed that the major religions have failed to really mention is how the physical universe and this density, our interaction here with this universe, this third plane, this third density, these 4 dimensions of length, width, height, and then time. Length, width, height, time. Those are the 4 dimensions that are present here in our existence, that we can perceive, that all of us can perceive. So as far as that goes, through my own experience, I can guarantee that these are facts. This is not I know this to be fact. I know the following to be fact. The way that everything in this physical existence works is there is a source, there is a center point, there is a source. Everything revolves in an ellipsoid type fashion, elliptical orbit around that source. Smaller bodies then gravitate once again in an elliptical fashion around those. When we're talking about the atom to the Milky Way, we're seeing this elliptical orbit, and we're also seeing the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence. All right. Now this is a fact. It cannot be refuted that atoms move in elliptical fashion, and that planets, or any quote unquote heavenly body, things that are out there in outer space, do the same exact thing. We do the same exact thing. So I would suggest to anybody that is having problems, trying to figure out what's going on, you're down, you're depressed, or whatever, I would suggest that you go find your source and you revolve around it, and all the smaller things will follow you, because it's the way that this works. There's no debating that. It's not up for debate. It is a fact. Nobody can refute it. Like, it's scientifically proven as fact, metaphysically proven it's a fact. Okay? That's the way that this works. So, in seeing that, we can observe in our sky that we revolve around the sun in that fashion, the moon revolves around the earth in that fashion, and everything revolves in that elliptical orbit around the center point. Now, in our case, we're trying to figure out what is the actual source center point for all of this movement. We as human beings will not find that, okay? We won't find that as human beings. It's not meant to be that way. It's just certain things that we will not know, and we have to be content with that. We can't go around killing each other based off of what we believe it to be, or what another person believes it to be, or any little petty disagreements that we have, which is another problem I have with organized religions, is we got all these people speaking on matters that they don't know. And I'm not afraid to come here and say that I don't know what the source of all this is. I don't. And I'm quite frankly willing to go as far as to say that I will never know. And we have to be content with that there's matters that we will not know. And we cannot allow the opinions of other people or the ideology of other people to influence us to a point where we are willing to murder or harm another person based on a belief, because it is a belief. We don't know. We don't. I'm not gonna sit here and play like I know. We don't know. Anybody that says that they do is a liar. They're fucking lying to you, man. Anybody comes and say that God went and told them how all of this works, they're a liar. Because how do they know that was God speaking to them? They don't. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. And we got people out here that are liars, they're manipulators. All right, I got one friend, his head's all caught up in a in a church right now because the pastor cold read him and basically came up to him and was like, God came and told me this in a dream, and he basically used the emotions and the interaction. He observed the body language to cold read him. So now this kid thinks that God is speaking to his pastor. So now he's hook, line, sinker, gone. There's no bringing this brother back. He's gone. There's no reasoning with this guy, because he believes that his pastor is in tune with God because he didn't realize that he got cold read. So you gotta watch out for these certain people in these religions doing these certain things. They're bad. But like I said, the majority of people in these religions are not bad people. They're just misguided. They grew up in the faith, or it's a social thing. For a little while, me and my mom, we were going to church, and none of us believed in any of it, but it was social. You know, we liked the people that were there. We liked the coffee hour. We liked the events that people went on. You know, it was nice. But as far as actually believing, you know, all the doctrine, no. You know, we didn't. But, you know, we took it for what it was worth. So I'm not here to go and tell people, you know, what to do. But I would say this. You're not going to come and tell me that Jesus Christ or whoever is the way, because I will straight tell you to your face, you don't know. You can't finitely tell me that you know. We're doing this all based on faith. And I mean, that's another way that these pastors and these, I wouldn't even really say it's the books, because it's more of the pastors and their interpretation of the books. So they'll create, you know, I'm somebody that's in the computer science world, you know, programming world. So they'll create basically little scripts. What I mean by that is they make like a programming regimen, so that basically you're stuck in a loop that you can't break out of. So they'll tell you, oh, have faith. If you lose faith, you're going to hell. Expect people to ridicule you. That means that the faith is true and that you're doing God's work, because you're getting ridiculed. And you know, certain things like, oh, there's going to be people there try to deter you off the path. If you blindly believe, if you have blind faith, you're going to heaven. And they, you know, especially when it comes to brown and black communities, and even certain poor white communities, they feed people this bullshit so that they can accept their poverty and the situation that they're in. All right. So once again, I'm not exactly saying it's the books, it's the people that are interpreting them and the way that they're interpreting them. So I'm not going to say that, you know, the books haven't been changed or that the books are perfect, because they're not. Obviously, they're not. There just needs to be, you know, some explaining done. All right, because we haven't changed it up so that people can't use it to oppress. That is still the reality of these systems, and that is what they are primarily being used for. So they put you in a loop, as I'll call it, with no break statement, so that you're continuously caught in this cycle of, oh, as long as I have faith and people are ridiculing me and I'm living in a shitty situation, I'm doing good. Mind you, you don't see the pastor living like that. I mean, you don't see a lot of people living like that, who you would see as blessed by God. All right, who those people would say are blessed. It just doesn't correlate. And another thing, I mean, anybody that lives in, like, you know, quote unquote the hood or like an inner city area, you know that there's a church every goddamn block. All right, there's a chicken shack, a pharmacy, and a damn church on every single block. And people are getting killed, selling drugs, and doing really horrific things in front of these churches, where there's abundant amounts of churches. And then we go look at a place like Short Hills, New Jersey, or even Alpine, New Jersey, Franklin Lakes. There's like one church in the whole town. There's like one temple in the whole town. There might be one mosque in the whole town. But when you go to these inner cities, into the hoods, into the quote-unquote ghetto, or whatever you want to call it, the trailer park, whatever, you know, whatever you want to call it, you got people out here who are trying to, you know, they're trying to get one over, because they know it's an extraction. These churches are being used as energy extraction. So they extract the energy of the tormented people in these places. And this is how I know that this is being set up by demonic entities. All right, because you don't go, like, the whole reason that you cause harm to people is it brings about chaos. This chaos brings about, you know, a negative energy that demonic entities like to feed on. So wherever there's chaos, guarantee you there's some kind of demonic force there trying to eat. All right, and they're just trying to eat. All right, these demons are trying to eat, but you gotta stay the fuck away from them, because it's gonna fuck you up. All right, so I don't know if anybody notices these type of demonic tendencies of these I won't exactly say the religions, but the leaders of these religions, all right? They tell you to give up your soul to Jesus Christ. I thought he already had it. I thought God already owned your soul. Why are you giving up something that he already has? And I mean, in the little petty types of laws and the things that God asks of people contradicts, and it just sounds like a really petty, childish, low self-esteem piece of shit. Asking somebody to kill their son in his name, asking to do all these different things here and there in somebody's name. You could just take 2 steps back and think, does this sound like a loving God? Does this sound like somebody that loves you? Does this sound like something that, is all-powerful? No. Sounds like a little petty demonic entity trying to salvage whatever little energy that it can because it's weak, it's a piece of shit, and it needs something. And it doesn't want to die. So it's gonna go and influence people to do certain things. That's why you got the Pope, and the Catholic priests, they're molesting all these little boys. All right, there's all these children turning up dead. All right, there's all these nasty blood sacrifices and blood rituals being done because they're appeasing to demonic forces. Because the demonic forces, they require these type of things. Now, like I said, anything that's asking you to spill blood is demanding that you take a life, or is demanding that you give up your soul to it. It's a demon. Point blank period, it's a demon. You don't even gotta think twice about it. Positive reinforcing energy does not require that. And that is the energy of creation, as the energy of all that is, the creator, whatever you want to call it. God, Allah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it. The source. The source that we as human beings will never find. But we know it's there because everything is operating around it. So we know that it's there for sure. And something that a lot of people kind of miss out on is the metaphysical, or I guess the occult aspect of all of this, which is where I have my problem with the atheists. Okay? Now, this is my question, atheists. Can you refute or deny the fact that the mind precipitates the matter, as in a thought has to be made first before it can physically manifest? You can't. All right, so sit your ass down. That is another fact of the physical universe. The mind starts it, and then it forms into matter. Just think about it, all right? Subconsciously, before you take a step, before you go do anything, you think about it. Then you do it. It's the way everything works. Everything starts with an idea or a non-physical source. Then it creates itself in the physical. And we know that there's intelligence and communication going on a quantum level between subatomic particles, sub-subatomic particles, strings. When we start getting into string theory, we know that all these things are communicating, and these things precipitate the matter that we see. So these communications happen first. So what do I mean by this? What is my point in mentioning all of this? So the power of your mind is what's controlling the physical, all right? So what do I mean by that? You are in full control of basically what's going on with you. So if you want something done, or if you really need, assistance or guidance, it's gonna have to come from here first, all right? Which is why people sit down and plan things before they go execute them. That's why people visualize, before they do it. And the visualization is, is a very real aspect. So, people have connected you know, various athletes or various performers to, brainwave machines. And they've basically shown that when you're thinking it, you're basically releasing the same kind of chemicals as when you're doing it. So your mind is a very powerful tool, and you need to use it. And you need to be visualizing and thinking before you do these things consciously, because if you don't, you might be lost. You might get lost out here. So another thing I like to tell people, your mind precipitates the matter. So think about these things before you do them. The thoughts that you have in your head, the thoughts you have about yourself are the most important thing. They matter more than the stuff around you. Way more. How you see yourself and how you feel about yourself affects how other people see you too. It's just the way that it works. You are in control. It all starts with you. All right? And what these religions have tried to convince you is that it starts from outside of you. That's just not true. I mean, just think about this, all right? If you're going to be talking to God, right, and God made you, what's a better avenue to God? Yourself or a person in a church, a human construct? Just think about it. Doesn't make sense for it to be the other way. It's got to be coming from you. It's got to be coming from the creation of the Creator. So it's got to be coming from within, all right? And you got to be eating the foods of God. So what I mean by that, wild edibles, all right? You can't be eating the GMO. You can't be eating the fuckery, which is why I had to shout out to Dr. Sabi, man. The messenger of alkaline healing, bro. He really is a prophet. Man is a prophet, all right? He really laid down the guide work to make yourself truer to yourself, if that makes any sense. When you eat these foods, you reveal yourself to yourself. If that makes sense. You become a truer version of yourself. You find inner peace, you find harmony, and you find balance. And that really there is the purpose of life. There is no other purpose of life other than having personal peace, wellness, happiness, mainly peace. You're not going to be happy all the time. Just it's not the way life works. We need balance. We need ma'at. So peace is important, okay? Peace can be achieved in any kind of state, whether you're happy, sad, you could always be peaceful about it. So peace is the goal here. Being a peaceful person mentally, all right? I'm not saying go be a doormat, let everybody walk over you. No, all right? Defend yourself, but you have to be able to have internal peace. Be on your square and make sure that nobody can move you. You got to center yourself, all right? And everything else will follow up. And honestly, everything else is speculation or is there to get you in a trap or to get you scared, all right? So basically, my whole, from what I've experienced as to be the truth, is about 4 things. Number 1, there's a source that everything revolves around and we won't find it. Number 2, your brain, your mind, whatever you want to call it, can't call it the brain, call it the mind, it precipitates the matter, all right? So it comes first, you think something out, and then it becomes physical. Your thoughts control all of this. So be centered, and be square on who you are as a person. Be centered. Look from within for the answers. It's always there. Answer's not outside. All right, don't look outside for anything. Not saying don't accept help from other people, but don't become dependent on anything outside of you, because there is nothing outside of you. If you are a creation of God, then you are a collective of everything, because there is only one thing, and that is existence. There's only one thing, that's existence, and you're a part of it because you're here and you're experiencing it, and there's nothing else, all right? There's nothing outside of it. There's nothing inside of it. It just is this. We're here. There's things we won't know, and we got to be fine with that. We can continue to live our life and bring in harmonious energy because we need to balance it out. Right now, it's very obvious the planet is majority negative, majority chaos. It's chaotic. We're living in a majority chaotic state, and we need to balance that out. We need to bring it more close to a positive side. And from what I've noticed is these institutions like to thrive in the negative areas, and they make it more negative because they're feeding off of it. These institutions are not here to improve the situation of the people or the areas, because if it was going to, it would have, because they've been around here for 200 plus years now. It's only getting worse. We're only getting sicker. The churchgoers, they're only getting sicker with the diabetes, and it's a shame because they're some of the most spiritual, heartful, loving, ethical people that you'll meet, especially these Christian women. Very ethical people, very, very kind, loving, spiritual beings. Very loving. I love them. Love my Christian women. But they're being used for nefarious reasons, and I would challenge people to think about that before they go and give up their soul to Jesus Christ or give up whatever to whoever. And I also implore people, stay the hell away from any type of thelema or Satanism where they're trying to tell you to just go do what you want. Because no, you gotta do for you, but in a positive way, in a synergistic way that helps everybody around us. All right. So find internal peace, find balance, and find harmony. That is our goal here. That is the goal here. I have no master teacher. I'm not trying to claim that I got the juice or anything like that. Start fucking lecturing or none of that. Nah. All right. That's just my 2 cents on it. And there's just certain things I know to be fact. And those are about 3 or 4 of them. The rest of it, we can debate, we can speculate. I've got some I've got some pretty out there theories about what I believe is really out there, but I'm speaking strictly on fact. All right, strictly speaking on fact. Those 4 things I said, irrefutable, scientifically proven, metaphysically proven. It's a fact. All right, so I challenge anybody out there. If you need to find internal peace, I would suggest that you start eating the foods that Mother Nature has given us, because those are the foods of God. If you want to be a spiritual person, you want to get closer to God, eat those damn foods. Search from within. All right, stop looking at the creations outside of God. Don't look at the creations that human beings made. Human beings wrote books. Human beings made religions. All right, God never made any of that. So if you want to follow the word of God, don't go look in a book for that shit. God ain't make no goddamn book. All right, look around you, look within, because that's what God made. God made the nature around you, and God made you. So look within and observe the nature. And that's all I gotta say, folks. Anything else is bullshit for the birds. Stay on your square and stay positive. Peace out, folks.